Now we went over placing and editing images, but what if we wanted to insert an image that was always below this paragraph, but always above this paragraph? Well, normally when we go to File, Place, and let's just say, let's click this one here, and I'm just going to click and drag it in here. And normally if I click and drag it over here, it's on top of the text frame, right? We're going to go over how to wrap text around images and so on. But whenever I click, let's say at the end of this paragraph, it doesn't move with it. Well, there are a couple ways to make an inline or anchored object in a paragraph. One way is just to select it like this and copy it, so we can press Control C on the PC or Command C on the Mac, or it's up here, Edit, Copy. And then over here we double click to toggle to the Type tool. We can press Enter, and then we can press Control V on the PC or Command V on the Mac, and then it makes it an inline image. So I'm going to bring this paragraph down a little bit to show what I mean. If we, for example, created a new paragraph here, it goes right along with the text. It moves with the text. So that's one way to add an anchored or inline object. And if I click and drag this around, I can't move it up here like we could in Word, for example. What we have to do is hold Shift, as that tooltip tells us there, click and drag right on that anchor point, and then we can move it around to wherever we want in that paragraph. We can also hold Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac and click that anchor point, and it'll bring up this dialog box here. And we can go to Above Line and go to Center, click OK, then it would be centered in that area, and it's still an inline object. For example, if I press Enter here, it moves with the text. So that's one way if we want a photo or other graphic in the middle of a text frame that moves with it, particularly in larger publications with a lot of text. Now what if we had a publication and we wanted some kind of graphic over to the side that corresponds to some text here? Maybe it's a sidebar or an illustration, and when we move text down, the text moves, of course, but the photo doesn't move with it, and that's problematic. Well, what we can do is click this placed image over here. That's not an inline image, this is just the one we copied earlier. And if I just click and drag over it, it just places it on top of the text frame. We don't want that. What we want to do is right there where that blue square is, we want to click and drag that. And then that will create an inline object. And so now when, for example, if I wanted to add a paragraph up here, I could do that. There we go, and it stays right next to wherever we have inserted it as an anchored object. Now that's if we just click and drag it in. It will make it an inline object, but it stays off to the side. If we hold Shift though, it'll be similar to us copy and pasting it in there as an inline object. So if we hold Shift, then it places it in there as an inline object within the text frame, and not just aligned wherever it was originally and it moves with it. This will move with it, but inside the text frame. So let's say we have some text and the photo next to it, and we've linked it in so that it's anchored. So we see the little anchor icon there. And so whenever we add some more text, it will move with it. What if we don't want that? What if we want this to stay in that area? We can select it. If we want to release that from being an anchored object, we can go to Object, Anchor Object, and then Release, and that will release it. We can also go to Options, and there are a few more options there as well. So that's how you convert images to inline or anchored objects in InDesign.